Shabbat Shalom. It occurs to me that Devar Torah about this week's Parsha, Lech Lecha, and the Jewish people's connection to the land of Israel writes itself. This is the week when the promised land is promised, when God tells Abraham to go forth from his father's house and his native land to the land of Israel. How perfect. But in this particular moment, it feels useless to me to argue that the Torah states God's promise of the land to the Jewish people, or that the Jews have been living in the land of Israel for thousands of years. Because this war isn't about land. It isn't about the occupation. It isn't about government policies. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is certainly about those things. And the Palestinian people's anger and frustration is certainly about those things. But this war began because Hamas wants to murder as many Jews as they possibly can. And that's it. So yes, we will read this week's Torah portion and internalize the importance of our spiritual homeland. But for now, I'd like to talk about an entirely different type of Lech Lecha moment. The moment when each of us are called to leave our parents' homes, leave the place in which we grew up, and venture out on our own. That call probably isn't coming from God, like it did for Abraham, but for many of us, it comes in the form of a college acceptance letter. And for many of us here at PAS, including myself, it came from the University of Pennsylvania. In fact, sometimes I think that the only reason I've been accepted into this community is because of our shared alma mater. But in all seriousness, Park Avenue does have a very strong bond with Penn. We have lots of alumni. Many of our teens go there. We're very connected. And I love that about this community. I, too, feel very connected to Penn. It was a great home for me for 4 years. Half of my wedding party were friends from Penn, some of my very best friends to this day. Penn Hillel, in particular, was my home on campus, a place where I could learn about being a Jewish leader. And outside the Hillel building, I always felt safe as a Jew on campus. I never hesitated to wear a Jewish star necklace or to share proudly about my Judaism and my love of Israel. Which is why I, like I know many of us, have been so deeply disappointed in the direction that Penn has gone recently. A month ago, Penn hosted a Palestine Rights Literature Festival, which sounds by its name like a great thing, a celebration of Palestinian writers. But instead, the festival featured speakers like Roger Waters, a rock star who's worn Nazi paraphernalia at concerts. Academic departments sponsored the event, and only after considerable pushing would the university president make a statement at all about the anti-Semitic speakers. Less than 2 weeks later came the horrific events of October 7th, and my shame about Penn's leadership and campus climate continued. Videos went around social media of students and non-students on our beloved Locust Walk tearing down flyers of the kidnapped, standing in front of everyone's favorite Button statue outside the library, telling Jews to go back to Brooklyn and Berlin. The response of the university president was again too little, too late. These events aren't happening only at Penn. On Wednesday night, I was on a Zoom with many of our PAS college students from lots of different campuses as they shared stories of anti-Semitic graffiti, professors celebrating the deaths of Jews, and pro-Hamas walkouts from class. Our very own PAS young adults are witnessing these things, out on their own for the very first time, navigating life outside the comfort zone of their parents' homes, having heeded the Lech Lecha call to go forth. And now this is what they are faced with. But I'm not ready to despair, because I also heard on that Zoom call about how our PAS college students are feeling even more connected to their Jewish and pro-Israel communities than ever before, how they feel even prouder to be Jewish now, how they are speaking up. And they are not the only ones. We Zionists and Jews and our allies have not been silent and will not be silent. We have seen university donors, Jewish and not, pulling their donations until better action is taken. We have seen brave, powerful letters written to university administrators. In fact, our Park Avenue teens have been participating in a learning series with journalists about how to write op-eds and letters to their school principals. They're writing letters for their lived situations right now, and they're learning skills so that when they go off to college, they will know how to stand up for Israel on their campuses. Our next door 20s and 30s community members have shared with me that they are demanding that the executives at their companies, law firms, and organizations take a stand for Israel and against anti-Semitism. Our young people at PAS, from our teens to our college students to our 20 and 30-somethings, are a force. Here's the thing about Lech Lecha. It isn't just about a physical getting up and going. It's about the courage that underlies the going, the courage it takes to forge one's own path. It couldn't have been easy for Abraham to get up and leave his home behind, adopt a new religion, wander towards a new homeland, become the patriarch of a brand new people. He courageously forged his own path, a path that we are still walking today. Our young people are doing the very same thing. Many of them feel isolated and alone in their support for Israel, and speaking up is its very own Lech Lecha moment for them. A moment of leaving that which is comfortable and venturing out into the unknown, the scary, the unpredictable. They inspire me. We owe it to our courageous teens, college students, and young adults to ask ourselves, what is our Lech Lecha moment in the midst of this war? How will we stand up for what is right? How will we use our influence for good? How will we make our voices heard? Even when it is uncomfortable, even when we know we will be disagreed with. Lech Lecha, go forth from your comfort zone, from silence and complacency. Go forth to take a stand with courage and with strength.